bum bum, ba-dum bum bum bum, bum bum diddle, bum bum. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Sierra. I'm the person behind the channel that you're watching now, Beauty Beyond Mirrors. Welcome back to my channel. Excuse the background. I mean, it's just some sheets. I mean, come on. I'm not working with much space, okay? Anyway, I wanted to come before you guys today. This is my second up close and personal video. I still haven't forgotten about doing the story on Dylan. I'm still gonna do it. That's coming. It's just between this channel and my primary channel, where I discuss my life and everything in between. Shameless plug. Pause. Since I said that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my primary channel. That's more about me, actually all about me, my life, and everything in between. I'm gonna have it linked somewhere here. It's probably gonna be right about here, right about there. So right now, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video, and also go over to my primary channel and subscribe to that channel as well. It never hurts, and it's 100% free. I did wanna come on camera today to discuss beauty standards. Like this whole channel that I created is really about inner love for inner self. And how we can do better as people, men and women, doesn't matter. It can help everyone. Have you all ever felt like at any point in time in your life that you weren't pretty enough? And I'm using air quotes, but for obvious reasons, because what is pretty? Beauty is skin deep, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? But be that as it may, we all know that there are conventional standards of beauty here, all over the world really, but especially here in America. So I say all that again to say, have you ever felt like you weren't pretty enough in your group of friends? I could personally say that I've had those moments a lot. Ever since I can remember. I would say it started to stick out in middle school. I don't remember really paying so much attention to my looks in kindergarten, because I still remember kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third, fourth. You know what, I would say maybe about the 5th grade. I stand corrected. About the 5th grade leading up to middle school, and it was just full blown in middle school. I felt like I wasn't pretty enough. There was a lot of things, you know, as adolescents, you're growing up around peers around you that look different, that has different hair textures, that has different backgrounds than you, that has different skin tones as you, that has different fashion styles as you. I mean, the list can go on. And personally, when I was younger, I never felt like I fit in, really. I just didn't. I never felt like I quite fit in. I didn't feel like I was not known, but I also knew that I wasn't the popular girl. And I've had my fair share of, would I say, bullying? I didn't really get, well, I did by this one girl. Yeah, I did, which I saw her years later as I became an adult, and she was working at a grocery store. And she said hi to me, and I'm like, oh my God. I don't want to say her name, but yeah, I'm like, wow. She said hi to me because for a long time she hated me. Seemed like she was just mean. It was a Jamaican girl. She was very mean. But anyway, I say all that to say, I know that I've never quite fit in or felt like I fit in with the status quo. I'm born and raised in Miami. I did go to school in Broward. For those of y'all who are familiar with South Florida, specifically Miami-Dade and Broward County, you already know. So I went to school out in Broward County, and I had one friend that turned into 2 and 3 because of her siblings, but that was really like my primary friend that I felt like she got me at that time. You know, we were all kids growing up, trying to figure life out, you know what I'm saying, trying to fit in, but not too much, at least not for me. I didn't care about fitting in to that extent, but I did want to at least hide in the shadows so that I'm not targeted. Because back then they used to do a lot of ranking. If you know what rank mean, that means like they're about to light you up, they're about to make fun of you. So that was just a little slang word for that. I had big feet, still do, but the only difference is I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. But I always had big feet. But imagine having big feet at, how old are you when you're in 5th grade? When you're 10 or 11 years old, you know? I've always had that, so I was always self-conscious about that, and I did get picked on by guys, specifically about my feet if they paid too close attention. I vividly remember like small feet being the it thing. Everybody wanted small feet. If you had big feet and you were a girl, that was a no-go, and you were going to be on that chopping block. Obviously, fashion trends was always the thing, and just to put it into perspective, this was the mid 2000s. This was 2005 to 2006 and 7 and 8 and 9. But needless to say, bullying has always been a thing since the beginning of time. There will always be people and kids that would say harsh things. Now, I can say I have not been, I can't even say bullied with my full chest. It was just every now and again I would get picked on, and I would surely get back with them. As I got older, I got more aggressive with it, I can say, because when I was younger, I used to just laugh things off. Laugh, 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 laugh. You know, I think at one point I had a nickname Goofy because I would just laugh. And that was for many reasons. I would laugh because I did not want to get angry. I would laugh because I was embarrassed. I would laugh because I did not want to face the fact that they are disrespecting me, until I got older. And that's when I stopped laughing and I started to match energy, and then I was called bipolar or whatever. I'm like, hey, I'll have that. You know, if that means that I'm sticking up for myself and you ain't gonna, you know, try me again, then sure. But, you know, there were always cliques. There was always cliques in middle school. You would have your girls who, quite honestly, hey, it is what it is. I would call them fast. You always have those fast girls. The girls who was just, they were 11 or 12 going on 30 or 31. They wanted to be in every boy's face. Half of them were sexually active. It was just a lot of things that I wasn't ready for, and I was shy. Oh, that's another thing. I was very shy. Very shy. Me, all I wanted to do was just hang out with my then best friend, laugh about people. You know, I was just goofy. I wasn't really focused on the things that a lot of my peers was focused on at that time. I just wasn't. And for that reason, I'm not gonna lie, I did feel like I was kind of the outcast in a sense. But I had my then best friend who was on the same type of time with me. You know, we were both, to my knowledge, we were both virgins. You know, we weren't really in guys' faces. I'm talking about like middle school. We weren't in guys' faces like that. Sure, we had crushes. I sure did. You know, we all had crushes, but, you know, we didn't really get there. We weren't on the other levels of the same chicks that was our age, that was dibbling and dabbling to everything and everyone. But be that as it may, when I did get around a group of girls, and I'm speaking of middle school and high school, but especially high school, when I did get around a group of girls, I would feel like the oddball out. I'm gonna be honest. And then I had the ugly duckling stage. I'm not one of those girls who was just conventionally pretty their whole life. Like, it got to a point, like, y'all don't see this now because I've made efforts to change it, but if y'all will see how my eyebrows was, my eyebrows, to me, it grew. My eyebrows is just like my dad's, but picture your dad's eyebrows on you. Okay, it was very bushy, and it never had an arch. It never had like an arch like you see now. It was always dun, and then it went down. Literally, dun, went down. I was so self-conscious about that. So I would try to change that. You know, just little things about myself. I felt like I was a little chubbier than the girls that I would hang around. So I would be self-conscious about that. I mean, I felt like my boobs wasn't big enough. And then I felt like my boobs wasn't perky enough. I mean, it was always something that made me look at myself and lack self-love. When I look back at it now, I mean, it's completely asinine because, you know, we're all different for one, and I've always been beautiful. I may not have been the most beautiful girl in the bunch, but I've always been a beautiful girl, especially inside. And as you get older, you start to really pay attention to the fact that inside is what really matters. Outside is going to fade. And to be completely honest, even the girls that I would be around, I mean, they weren't my friends. Remember, I only had one best friend, and then I had another friend who is now my best friend now and has been for a long time. Besides them two, I didn't have friends. I mean, I had associates, but I did notice that I would feel insecure. I feel insecure standing up against certain girls my age because they were skinnier than me or because they had different hair texture than me and they could wear it out, and I felt like my hair was just untamable. Their eyebrows, they had an arch, they had natural beauty to me, and that's not to take away from them at all, because they were beautiful and I'm sure they still are. It was just more of how I felt about myself, and that's why I wanted to come on this video, because you know, my channel is about loving ourselves more, and I feel like we as a population don't do that enough, and it comes out in so many ways, whether it comes out in aggression, or it comes out in delusions, it comes out in, you know, lack of discernment, it comes out in so many different ways. Some of us even laugh it off. In high school, gee whiz, that was the worst when it came to my self-esteem. Because now I mean, we're all growing up. We're all going through puberty. We all have gone through puberty, you know. It was just on steroids, you know. And then it made me look more towards myself and be like, well, am I pretty? Well, why isn't my feet small? That was a big thing for me too for a long time. Why isn't my feet small like hers? Very big. Why isn't my thighs the size of her thighs? I've always had thick thighs. I've always been thick, and I could show y'all pictures if I even find them. If I find the pictures, I'll put some in there for you. I've always been a thicker girl, especially at the bottom, and I didn't really like that because I didn't want to be perceived as fat. There were so many things, and then on top of that, I had eyesight problems, so that meant I had to have glasses, which I avoided like the plague for as long as I could, because back then they were calling girls and guys 4 eyes, you know. Oh, okay, 4 eyes, and you know, all that stuff. And then on top of that, I'm like, I wanted to rock certain hairstyles. I didn't feel like glasses would really suit my face. I was too scared to do contacts, so I did get glasses. I mean, it was just so many things that when you look back at it, it's like, who cares? Who cares that you had to wear glasses? Why are you now bothering your classmate that sit to the left or right of you and ask them, what does that board say? What does it say on that board? Because you don't want to move to the front of the class to see and learn. All because you don't want to put on glasses. That was me. There was just so many things, guys. So many things that I went through internally. It all boils down to insecurity in a nutshell, because truth be told, when I really love myself, when we really love ourselves, we don't tear ourselves apart like that. We don't look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, you're too fat. You got, you know, that's another thing. I've always been self-conscious about my, well, medically they call it a tail of Spence, which is that extra, this is the armpit fat. We call it armpit fat, but that's really the tail of Spence, and that is a part of the breast. I've always had that since I was younger, and I've always been self-conscious about that. I hardly wore bathing suits, tank tops for sure, no. I just always been conscious of my body. I've always been self-conscious about my body. And then if you paired me up with some girls on the side of me, you know, I'll laugh and joke and giggle with them. But, you know, in certain outfits or in certain bathing suits, I would look and I'll just be like, wow, why don't I look like that? You know, why are those guys going after them or her and not me? What is it that I'm giving off that is like repellent to them? So that was very heightened in high school. In fact, I had my first boyfriend in the 11th grade. That was my first time having a boyfriend. While everybody was probably on their third, fourth, or fifth boyfriend by the 11th grade, 16, 17, I was experiencing my first boyfriend. Crazy, huh? So, and a lot of that had to do with me being self-conscious. So I really, like, I had crushes, right? But I was self-conscious, especially about my body. I was just so self-conscious. It wasn't about my personality. I always knew that my personality was the chef's kiss, but it was my physical appearance. I was always like overthinking because I've had so many girls in school to compare it to, you know? And it did something to me. It did something to me. It made me not like myself, if I'm really honest with myself. And I would be lying if I say that I still don't feel insecure about certain things. I'm human. I'm gonna have some things that I'm still insecure about. But I tell you one thing, I'm no longer insecure about my feet. I'm no longer insecure about my shape. Now, I have some things that I'm insecure about still, but even your biggest celebrities have insecurities. We are human, you know? I think it's really hard in the society that we live in for us to not have insecurities, because if we're being honest, that's really what it boils down to. How else are we going to compare ourselves? Who else are we going to compare ourselves to, or our mindsets to know that our feet is too big, to know that we are too big, to know that our breast isn't perky? We have to have something that we are seeing visually. But I've came a long way. I love myself more than I did before. Every day I'm not 100. I am not 100% every day. Like I said, I still have insecurities, but my insecurities are less, that's for sure. It's less surface level. And I prioritize inner beauty more. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna, you know, spruce myself up to my liking or to be socially acceptable in my appearance outside. I mean, look, I just did my hair. I hope y'all like it. I just did my hair. Yeah, so I tried this. These are the locks. I got it on Amazon. It's pretty long. It's pretty long, but I just did this yesterday, actually, and I really like it. But anyway, I say that to say I'm still gonna, you know, spruce myself up, make myself feel like I'm at my best, and, you know, draw good attention to myself, because I know that appearance is everything. And I also know that you dress as you would like to be perceived. If I go outside and I'm wearing a fishnet, I am prepared to be perceived like I'm a lady of the night, okay? Or I'm at Tootsie's. But, you know, I know that if I dress in a way that, number one, is comfortable for me, and, you know, and something that I take pride in, I am A-okay with that. So for any of y'all who ever felt like you were not good enough or pretty enough for your group of friends, for the men in your life at any point in time, let's sound off in the comment section. I believe that a lot of y'all can relate to this. I usually don't put my personal, like, too personal. There's surface level personal business, and then there's that middle layer, and then there's that deep layer. Like, only very few people get to know. What I'm talking to you guys about today, I would say, is about that middle layer. And that's only because I don't know who's really watching my videos. I'm sure there's people in my personal life that watches my videos on both channels, right? I just made this one, but my primary channel and this channel that don't have access to me at all. So the only way that they can have access to me is through this, my videos. So I am quite cautious of what I say, but I also want to be real with you guys. I'm a human being just like you are. And I'm just living through this one life that I have, just like you. So I say all that to say, I hope that I have reached somebody today. It is 4:06. I have school today. I know you guys don't know this, but on my other channel, which hopefully you guys have subscribed to by this minute, y'all know all about that. I am in nursing school right now, and I have evening classes that start at 6, but I leave the house at 5 at the latest so that I can get there early and kind of settle down, use the restroom, and just get prepared for class. So I just came back from the gym. Did not tell you guys that, but I'm gonna be putting some reels and shorts in on my primary channel, which is another shameless plug for you guys to follow that channel. I might also have it in my comment section in a link. But yeah, I need to head out, but I did want to stop and I need to take a shower. Oh God, I got so much to do. I's got so much to do. But anyway, so yeah, I hope that this video helped someone know that you're not alone. And if you are my age then, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, if you are like an adolescent, just know that this is nothing. Do not, please do not fret. Don't get so hard up on these small. This goes on. Who cares? Do you love you? You woke up this morning. You're not in crutches. You're neurologically intact. There's some people who woke up and don't even remember their name right now. So just try to think about those things. And I'm using the same advice that I'm giving to you guys because I'm not above reproach. Let's just focus on loving ourselves a little bit more day after day, and we'll see God work. Anyways, guys, this is the closing of my video. I don't know what my next video is going to be, but I know I'm still going to give y'all that video that I put in my community tab. But until next time,